Mill tried to force feed me a cake that I'm deathly allergic to at her 25th anniversary party. Now she's regretting it because of what Phil did. I, 27F, got married to my husband Frank, 30M, about a year ago after being together for 2 years. I've met his family plenty of times and we all used to get along until recently, when he and I were visiting his parents and the conversation somehow turned to kids and I casually mentioned that I wasn't interested in being a mother. My husband and I have obviously talked about this before and both of us are on the same page about kids, that we don't want kids. My mother-in-law Sharon, 52F, was the one who initiated the conversation at dinner that day, and when my husband and I made it known that we weren't planning on having kids ever, she tried to change our minds, especially mine. She continued to try and convince me to have kids at some point for the next couple of days until I told her that I wasn't interested and that neither was my husband. So that was it, and I didn't want to discuss this further. I made my boundaries clear and I guess she couldn't handle it because after that she started being really cold to me and would act weird every time I came around. My father-in-law, Ben, 53M, didn't seem to care much, which was a relief. I did discuss Sharon's behavior with Frank, but he told me that she was just upset and would come around eventually because it's not like she had a choice. It wasn't her place to dictate whether we should have kids or not, so she could act upset, but it wasn't going to change our decision. I felt better after talking about it to Frank, and since we still had to continue visiting his parents because Ben wasn't keeping well, I decided not to make a big deal out of it and tried my best to be polite and cordial with Sharon. Even though she didn't extend the same courtesy to me. Now a few days ago, we attended the 25th wedding anniversary and it had been organized by Frank's older brother, who's a surgeon. So he was able to throw a very lavish and fancy party and invited almost everybody that we knew, including my parents. We were all having a great time at the party, even though Sharon was giving me the cold shoulder. I wasn't particularly bothered by it and went on having fun with my husband and my parents. Then it was finally time to cut the cake, which I knew I wouldn't be able to have because it was a chocolate peanut butter cake and I had a deathly allergy to peanuts, or nuts of any kind, for that matter. And it was a pretty nutty cake, which goes perfectly with Sharon's personality, now that I think of it. She cut the cake along with Ben and we all clapped. It was a beautiful moment. Then everybody was served with a slice of the cake, but I obviously didn't take any and nobody questioned it, since everyone was well aware of my allergies. I didn't even mind not having cake, but for some reason, as soon as Sharon saw me sitting on my own without cake, she made a huge deal of walking over to me and asking me if I wasn't feeling up to it. She told me to have a bite of her slice, which I politely declined, and I found it very weird that she was even offering me because she knew that I was allergic. She insisted again and again that I take one bite at the very least, while I kept refusing and even told her that I was allergic and I physically couldn't have that cake. She tried to tell me that it wouldn't hurt if I had just one tiny, little bite, but I wasn't willing to risk it.